right now. Treat betting like a business. Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858. Dean Evans from Winning Edge Investments. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. How are you going?
Very well. We're sort of withering them down, the amount of all these feature races, but still coming at us, and the Gong and the Ballarat Cup this weekend.
Yeah, look, there's still plenty of good racing and plenty of good horses. You know, you got a $500,000 race in the Ballarat Cup and a $1 million race in the Gong. So there's still plenty of action, and you know, a big meeting next week at Caulfield as well. Plus some Group 1 racing at Ascot. So it's you know, there's still plenty of good racing for the rest of the month.
There is, of course, the railway in WA. Have you got a thought there, or am I pressing the friendship too hard there?
The one thing I find interesting, you know, Western Empire is just very, very short. You know, sort of $1.70 at the moment. Your profile is similar to a horse like Regal Power. I think the market's, you know, got this horse far too short simply because you know, Grant, Alana Williams and William Pike have won the race 3 years in a row. You know, I look very closely at this horse's sectionals compared to the last 3 winners, and I'd have to say they weren't as good as any of the last 3 winners, in my opinion. Not to say they're bad, and the horse has won 5 in a row, but you know, Regal Power won it at an SP of $10. The other 2 horses won it at sort of around $3, and this horse is $1.70. So, you know, I'm not saying Western Empire can't win, but $1.70 is a very silly price. And if he starts that, you know, I'd be looking at something tough and on pace that he might struggle to run down, a horse like, you know, Massimo or Dance Music.
And I don't rule out Kiss on All Four Cheeks. If it can get the right run from barrier 1, probably needs a bit of luck at the right time, but can let down rather quickly. I just think this market tightens up on race day.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's interesting. Some people who think that money's just going to keep coming for Western Empire, but I find that hard to believe. I think he's very, very short, and you know, if he starts odds on, I think there's an opportunity to, you know, either just lay him or like you say, back some of those horses. And Kiss on All Four Cheeks was a very impressive win last start, and yeah, she's a winning chance as well.
Well, let's look at the Gong. It's the $1 million race at Kembla Grange. The weather, maybe some showers on the day. They're tipping anywhere between 8 and 15 mil. At the moment, it's dried out well through the week to be a soft 6 after the meeting last Saturday was called off. Count to Rupee's the favourite at Bet365 at $3.60. A Tissue at $6. Then we've got I Am Superman at $7.50. They're the one single figure odds. Do you think it's a bit wider or not?
Look, yeah, it's interesting. In the first 2 editions of this race, it's really been on pace dominated, but it's also been a very dry Kembla Grange on those days. And, you know, it looks like we're likely to have a wet track if it does rain on the day. There's also a lot of speed here with Arcademus, Quacker Jack, Blue Soldier, Dawn Passage. They all like to push forward. You know, I Am Superman and Soldier of Love are usually close to the speed too. And then you've got Count the Rupee, who usually doesn't get too far back. And you know, Brock Ryan's got a real challenge from out in barrier 17 to try to get him some cover at the very least. So, you know, although Count the Rupee sort of rates on top, I think, you know, he's got a big task, Brock Ryan, out there being close to a strong speed and potentially caught wide. You know, a horse we've spoken about a bit before, Andrew, is Arameo. Again, you know, every run this prep, he charged home for Taki first up. He flew home for 3rd behind a Tissue second up and was against the bias. He then got beaten nose in the Epsom. He did race a bit flat in the Cantala, but, you know, I always back Chris Waller if he's, you know, backing a horse up again off a poor run, and you've got James McDonald on board. And I think Arameo profiles nicely off the speed. He doesn't get too far back. I think he can settle sort of midfield. And if he's on his A game, I've got it rated, you know, on top, and he's sort of around the $8 mark at the moment, and I think is a very strong chance.
I will say I think the horse was in last Saturday. I haven't got the absolute in front of me here, but I reckon it was scratched from the Hunter.
Yeah, it was actually in the Cranbourne Cup.
Oh, Cranbourne Cup. I knew it was somewhere last Saturday.
And they're frozen to bring him to Sydney, you know, that way of going where he's run really well, and to put James McDonald on. So I think they're 2 really big positives, and I think he's going to prove, you know, hard to beat. I think, you know, a horse like I Am Superman is a very, very good horse on a dry track. Once he gets up to that 1,500 metre sort of mile distance range, I think the challenge is going to be, you know, if it rains before the race, then I just put a cross through I Am Superman. But if it's dry, then I rate him as a strong chance. And if the rain does come, I think probably the best roughie is a horse like Soldier of Love, who Rachel King's ridden twice this prep. Both for good strong wins on sort of on rain affected going. And he's coming back from the 2,000 metres, so he'll be rock hard fit here. And I think, if it's dry, I Am Superman's a good danger to Arameo, but if it's wet, I think Soldier of Love can come into the race.
Soldier of Love right now, 34 and $9 the place at Bet365. We'll monitor the weather, obviously, but Arameo, your top fancy at this stage at $8 in the Gong. Let's look at the Ballarat Cup. It's a monster 10 racer down there. The track at the moment is a soft 6. They're expecting less rain. We started the week thinking, it's going to be a wet old Saturday, but they're only thinking now somewhere between 1 and 5 mil for the day. Zidani gets an inside draw again, like Flemington, is at $8. Thought of that at $3.60. Only Words at $8. Skyman at $9. And Foxy Frida just needs a beautiful Daniel Moore ride from the outside draw. It's an $8 chance, Dean.
Yeah, I think, you probably have to start with Thought of That. Everyone remembers the horse. I think it was a 3-year-old bolted in the Caulfield Classic and was a pretty strong favourite in the Victoria Derby where he failed. And then he sort of lost a lot of his form, but he's come back with 3 runs. He's sort of done it both ways. When he won at Sale, they ran 9.4 lengths above par in the early section. He still won by 3 lengths. Then at Moonee Valley, they went really slow, but he sprinted really strongly to win by nearly 3 lengths and sort of ran the quickest sections of the day across the board. So, he's simply a horse in form. I think the one thing about the horse people need to remember is he has failed on the wet every time he's run on it. So, like I sort of spoke about, Andrew, if the rain doesn't come, he should be okay. But if it does rain on the day and it starts to get a bit of cut in that track, I think that's probably the difference between whether you want to back Thought of That or lay the horse. Zaidani, is another looks a strong chance. Again, it's just that sort of wet Ballarat. It's probably assessing on the day from that barrier 1 whether the fence is okay or not. And that's always a challenge with in these races a couple of days early. But I think Zaidani rates is the key danger to Thought of That. But again, if the fence looks like it's not the place to be, then she's probably a risk. And I thought the one with a bit of value was Quantum Mechanic. This horse, ran 4th in the 2-rack, hit the line, really strong. They ran the 8th quickest last 1,000 metres of the day, and that was a race that obviously contained Thunderstruck, Tefani, and Superstorm. So it's a lot of very good form has come out of, and Group 1 form has obviously come out of that race. And then she was a little bit flat in the Cantala, but the thing, and Mick Price mentioned this, she actually likes to cut out of the ground, and she's probably got tracked a little bit harder than she likes. It's her first run at 2,000, but I'm surprised that you're getting, $17, $19 about a horse that's got form just 2 starts ago around the likes of Thunderstruck, Tefani, and Superstorm.
Yeah, I'm with you with the sting out of the track if there's a little bit of rain. And talking with Michael Kent Jr. during the week, the 3 weeks, they could have gone to Cranbourne, but they gave Quantum Mechanic the extra week, and I reckon they're pleased by that now.
Yeah, I think it's a good decision. A lot of the peak runs have come off that sort of 21-day break, and I think it allows them to just have that extra week to let it bounce back from the Cantala and train it for the 2,000 metres. And from what I've seen on her sectionals, particularly when horses are running over a mile, I like to look at that 800 to 200 and 6 to 200 sectional. And there were a couple of runs at Flemington last prep, including a win in the second in the Matron, where she had the best sectionals of the day from the 8 to the 200 and the 6 to the 200. It just tells me that the 2,000 metres I don't think is going to be a problem. I think she can run it.
It'll be intriguing, obviously, both tracks for Kembla and for Ballarat. We're going to just monitor the weather on the day. But at this stage, from Dean, Arameo in the Gong race 8, number 3, but certainly the 14 Soldier of Love if there's a bit of rain around. And from the Ballarat point of view, Thought of That if there's no rain, and maybe Quantum Mechanic at around $15, $17 if there's a sprinkling there on Saturday.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good way to go, and hopefully we get a bit of luck on the day.
Let's hope so. And people can get more. WinningEdgeInvestments.com, tips, ratings from Professional Punters. It's right there for you again this weekend. It's there every day. Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858 if you feel you have a problem. But check it out, winningedgeinvestments.com. And Dean, I know you'll be all over all of these meetings, and we'll cross the fingers with some weather. There'll be trainers out there that want rain, and there'll be trainers that don't.
That's right. Some will be happy, and some probably not so much on the day. But it'll be interesting, and certainly from a betting perspective, you want to be keeping a real close eye on the weather throughout the day, because it's going to make a big impact to the prices and the performances of horses.
And you'll be able to get that by going and checking it out at winningedgeinvestments.com. Thanks for your time, Dean.
Thank you, Andrew. A pleasure as always.
Good on you, mate. Dean Evans joining us there, winningedgeinvestments.com.